individual basis. Like, it's the same as when you're depressed and your room's a mess and you haven't been looking after yourself, you haven't shaved, you've got long hair, you're looking a bit greasy, and you started to put weight on and your house is all going to shit. The thought of tackling all of that, it is such a monumental Goliath-sized task that it's just overwhelming and you're knackered before you start, right? But if you just go have a shower, that's your first step. It's a small step. There's still loads to do. But then it's exactly what we learned at dancing. When you look at the whole dance routine now, you think, I'll never be able to do that. You break it down to the tapping of the feet, and then it's heels, and then it's that back step thing, and the other back step thing. And you break this big, monumental, terrifying task down into tiny steps that you can do and understand. So you have a shave. You cook yourself dinner instead of ordering a takeaway in. You do your dishes. Every time you leave your bedroom, you just take one cup down.
So there was a time in my life when I took stock and realised it's no wonder I was depressed, because everything I was doing was going wrong. It wasn't working towards any goals that I really wanted to achieve, and it was just like one of those moments in life where I felt really, really depressed, and I knew I needed to make a change. And I made the most profound and humongous change that moment. I put my trainers on. I went to the local park and ran around it one time. Okay, I mean, it's not a very big park. I'm talking about it's less than a mile from door to door. And came back to the same spot I was on, the sofa. Like, I was on the sofa lying there thinking about shit and being miserable. Got up, put my trainers on, one lap back, and it changed my life. Like, it did honestly change my life. So I was smoking so much at the time that it just wrecked my lungs and just shredded them, and I felt terrible and I had a headache and it's like cold sweats. That's what will happen if you're really, really unfit, and just go for it. And I just knew, okay, well, that's day one. Right, next time I'll do 2 laps and stuff. And this is like, as soon as I felt better, which was like 2 or 3 days, maybe even 4 days, in those days I was so unfit, I went out and did 2 laps, and I came back and it took me a bit less time to recover. And then obviously from there I progressed and did 3 or 4 laps, and on I went. And basically it ended up being a moment that changed my life. To get off of the sofa of depression, that 1 mile route, or less than 1 mile route, every journey begins with a step, so they say, right? But it's really true. And if there's one thing in your reach that you can do that will improve your state of mind and improve your positivity, don't think it's not worth it. It is worth it. And you don't know what it could do for the rest of your life. I mean, I'm talking about that set me up for my entire life from that point. Like, up to that point, I hadn't been doing any exercise. I've been eating terribly. I've been abusing myself with like alcohol and cigarettes. I never went back to that place from that moment, sitting there on the sofa of despair. I remember actually I was watching Gangs of New York.
What a movie.
Yeah. Long movie as well, right? Plenty of time to think in that movie. Yeah, so I watched like half of it, went for a run, came back, watched the rest of it, and every time I think of that film now I get a shudder of like that shredded lung feeling. Yeah. And just, it does matter. And like, there's people out there that want you to do it and stuff, and you'll never be on your own. Even if you feel like you're alone, you're not. The human race is one family, and if you take one step out that front door and break out your comfort zone and improve yourself, based on what we've just been saying earlier in this chat, like, that's contributing to the whole family of human race. So you can do it.
And just at that one step, and it's important to hold yourself accountable, but at the same time, like, there's no need to kind of drill sergeant yourself. Like, oh, well, that's not good enough. Look at what they're doing next door. You're not that person next door. You're you. Mm-hmm. What were you doing yesterday? Sat on the sofa. What are you doing now? Right? You're going for a walk. Good. That's better. Next day, okay, what you doing? Are you walking further? Oh no, you're jogging now. Okay, well done. Month's time, you've just done a 5k, have you? Fucking congratulations, mate. As postcardy and hallmarky as it does sound, it does start with one step. And in my peak of chaos, right, when like I had a particularly really bad 2 weeks where I lost my job, my mum had a stroke, my car got smashed up, I wasn't allowed to see my kids because of weaponizing children problems. Everything that could go wrong truly went wrong, right? I almost lost my flat. I lost my job. Like and my car had been smashed. I had no idea what to do. It was total chaos. And
I wish I'd known you then. Just hearing you say that, I just wish I'd known you then, mate.
I had no one to turn to. And as much as some of it, right, like I was accountable for, right, to a point. So I'm not saying it's just, the world was totally shagging me, but the world was shagging me then, right? I was getting totally fucked. And so much of these problems were out of my control. Like, I lost my job because my car got smashed up. And that was the second time this had fucking happened. Just a random act of vandalism, a wrong place, wrong time, twice.
Was it in Gosport or Plymouth?
Here.
Was it here?
It was here.
Wow.
Yeah. First time it happened, someone put a brick through my windshield. My mum had come up to visit me, and I was parked in a paying display car park next to a police station, and just some random guy, 8:20 in the morning, who's up that early going about being a cunt. You've got to set an alarm and think, I know, right, I'll have a nice early start of being a dickhead today. I did end up getting hold of that person through the police, and I spoke to them and stuff, and they were having a really bad day, like mental health episode. It was just a case of wrong place at wrong time.
Would it be really petty of me to say, look, I'll throw a brick through your windscreen, then we'll call it quits?
Well, like,
that's probably not a very
positive
way to approach it.
But I thought about that, right? Like the first thing, like, because I got an opportunity to speak to this person. He was explaining his tale of a sorrow, and it was horrible. The guy was going through some shit. But I said, but then your straw almost broke my back. Like, it was this close with everything else that was all going on. And like, every time I was climbing back up the slippery slope of fucking life, I'd get an elbow on and some kind of kick me in the face and I'd fall back down. And there's only so many times where it's like, is this not insanity? I'm doing the same thing and expecting a different fucking result. I just keep getting kicked in the face. So I had this awful 2 weeks where it was chaos and it was all out of my hands and I couldn't do anything about it. And I'd already kind of tapped out all of my help. It wasn't really a pride thing, but I'd already asked, and I already owed this guy 100 quid and this guy a couple £100, and I owed this guy a bit more for this. And I'd already asked. It's hard enough I had to go the first time and say, like, mate, I'm fucked over, can you lend me some money or something like that? But then the second or third time, and I still haven't paid you back from the first time, you have to take care of yourself first. Your cupboards have to be full before you start feeding next door, right? So it was all chaos and it felt like it was all out of control and horrible. So all I could control in that time was what I was doing with myself. Right, okay, the first thing I'm going to start doing is going to start brushing my teeth.
Brushing your teeth?
Yeah, like I wasn't even showering. Never mind brushing my teeth, mate. Like I wasn't taking care of myself at all. So
you had no love for yourself at all.
Yeah, so now I'm going to wake up and I'm going to brush my teeth. And then before I go to bed, I'm going to brush my teeth. And that's the only task that I'm asking of myself today, is to not kill myself. And I had to brush my teeth. And I got up and I done it and I felt good. Right, because it was never really driven into me at home that you have to do it. So holding myself accountable for something as small as that. So then it started as, okay, I'll start to brush my teeth. Sound. Right. Now I'm going to start to shower every day. Now I'm going to eat. So what I used to do a lot was I'd get to a point where I'd end up with like 30, 40 quid. So I'd get a gig. And the way that I got gigs was just put my balls on the fucking table, metaphorically, because that's another bar to work in. But I'd walk in with my guitar and say, look, mate, let me explain what I do. Like, give me a word. And you give me a word and I'd play and I'd show them what I can do and say, I can do that here, right? If you trick me 30, 40 quid, I can do it for like 40 minutes to an hour before people start to get bored. And when it's the right crowd in, it changes the whole atmosphere. Everybody loves it because they can join in, they're shouting me stuff and I incorporate it in as I go.
Did that have an effect on your depression?
Yes, 100%.
I mean, of course it had an effect. I mean, what was the effect? Did it help you break through and start brushing your teeth on day one? And was that part of the process that got you there?
So brushing the teeth first, that just kind of programmed my mind to understand there is habits that I can change. I just have to work on them and I can change things. And then when I went in, and the first guy that gave me a chance was at the Manor in Conway. It's a really nice kind of caravan park sort of thing. Got a really nice bar, beautiful area. And I went in and I just shot my shot with it. And he said, okay, right, I'll give you 20 quid if you do an hour. If people aren't enjoying it, I'll still pay it. Because I did lay it on him a bit and say, look, mate, my life is on fire right now and I need a break. I need you to be my break for me, please. Like, so he said, look, I'll give you 20 quid. But if people aren't responding well to it, then you're going to have to wrap your ego in and fuck off. I was like, mate, cool.
Took a lot of motivation and a lot of balls. To get up there and even ask him that as well, by the way. In my opinion, when you're depressed, just that act was big of you anyway.
For sure. And when you're getting continuously kind of shafted, I kind of figured, like, well, I'm lubed up already and life's been fucking me out. What's the worst that can happen?